What is going on, everybody? Well, we're gonna have a heck of a show today. And I'll be honest, today I was gonna be like, it's a lighter podcast. Today we're gonna talk about how yesterday I beat the Elden Ring DLC. That'll be exciting to discuss, and how we also beat Riven Remake, and you know, getting hyped for the possibility of Marvel vs. Capcom Collection releasing and all kinds of stuff. And then, as I was about to start the show, the American president basically quit. Maybe it's not as dramatic as that, but it really is. It's unprecedented. So obviously, once again, just like last week with what happened with Trump, now something happening on the other side of the aisle, I've got to talk about it. I can't just ignore it. You know, people are going to be asking me about it literally all day nonstop. So, wow, I guess it's time for one heck of a level 1 podcast right after this. Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, the 21st of July, 2024. A day that will definitely be historic. Okay? First of all, just to get through housekeeping stuff and everything, number one, we actually have a break in the weather. It was supposed to start being cooler here tomorrow after an unprecedented 2 straight weeks of insane heat here in Washington State. We broke records again. Seems like they say this every year now, but we broke heat records again and everything. So it's actually quite cloudy outside. And I can barely, like, it's weird. Like, it looks really dark in the office, and I'm not used to that. Like, I'm used to it being this dark in the fall and the winter. I'm not used to it being this dark in the summer. So it's a little odd. I'll have to adjust here. In addition, I woke up, and basically my throat was sore because I think I'd fallen asleep with my mouth open in a certain way. You know how when sometimes you fall asleep, you breathe through your mouth instead of your nose? And sadly, with my allergies compounding that, my throat is all screwed up. My nose is screwed up. So I apologize in advance. It just so happens this has to happen on a day when I'm literally going to be talking all day because it's React Day. So, great, right? So, ahead of time, I just want to let everyone know if I sound weird, if I'm clearing my throat, if I'm snorting, if I'm doing disgusting things, it's because everything is all screwed up today, okay? Now, like, literally, I was going to have a podcast that was going to be way more laid back and chill, but I think we just need to talk about the topic at hand right now. President Joe Biden just announced live on social media that he will not seek re-election. Of course, he didn't say that. What he said was like 4 paragraphs of complete fluff bullshit, and then said he wasn't seeking re-election. Okay? Did it actually say why? No, not really. He just says he's not seeking re-election. It's just crazy to me because this guy is supposed to be our leader, our commander-in-chief. He's been saying all along, I'm in this till the end. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to run, and I'm going to win this election. He's been literally saying this for a year. You know, promising the American people, back me, depend on me, I'm there for you, we're going to win. And then he quits. He's supposed to be our leader, and he quit. He's a quitter. Now, the thing is, there's a million factors involved, and one of the factors that is, as I've told you guys, for those of you who aren't involved in politics or maybe aren't American, our politics are heavily weighed by money, all right? And what's being believed is that basically, after, number one, Biden massively lost the debate against Donald Trump because he looked like he was nearly dead. He could barely talk. And number two, after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump last week, completely invigorating the voter base towards Trump, this week has been hell for Joe Biden. Apparently, all of his donors contacted him and said, sorry, we're out. We don't believe you can win now, so we're not going to waste our money to give you money for this campaign for you to go against Trump. Not to say that you would think that the incumbent president doesn't need much of a campaign, considering the fact that he's the incumbent president. You know who he is. You should vote on him because of his own track record. But apparently that's not enough for President Biden. Just think about that. He's been in office almost 4 years, and apparently what he's done in office isn't enough to convince the American people to reelect him. He needs money for a campaign. Is that not a red flag? Right? So, this is just crazy, crazy to me. Because, number one, all right, I'm 42 years old. I don't remember anything like this happening in American history. Now, I'm sure it's happened before, but I feel like we're in the era of just like all the veil has been lifted. You know, you get to see who the Great Wizard of Oz is behind the curtain. There's no more feeling that the people who are in charge are smart or any more bidding for the job than anyone else. Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't think that Donald Trump or Joe Biden are good leaders, nor do I think that they're going to do a good job for our country. I think that it's a broken system, that we have to vote for awful candidates, okay? And if anything, I mean, you may have had faith before, right? Faith before in Joe Biden, but how could you even have a single piece of faith in this guy who literally promised you the world and then just quit? I give up. Wow. Exactly. Dabhan says, don't worry, no one else in the world thinks your leaders are smart. That's a good thing. Because they're not. I'm telling you, as an American, I sit here and I see this going on. I'm like, this is a joke, right? Like, he literally has just been saying, I'm not giving up. Don't worry, we're going to win this election. We're going to beat Trump. And then he quits. How the fuck do you quit on your country? What on earth? And it's like I've always told you guys, all right? You don't overpromise and underdeliver. If you're not sure if you're going to run, if you're not sure if you're going to beat Trump, then just keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't keep saying the lie and then make everyone believe it and then go back on what you just said. What the fuck? Like, really? So in truth, like, who fucking would trust the Democrats at this point with anything? They have been pushing forward the narrative that, oh, Joe is fine. He's not in a cognitive decline. He's good at 82. Don't worry. He'll still be good as president for another 4 years. Vote for him. And now he's out. So it doesn't, I mean, this is my perspective as an American, okay? It doesn't matter who they pick as the replacement. They're not going to win. Trump has just won the election. And that's lame because for politics to work, you need to have true choices and competition. And I feel like right now, we don't have it, right? We don't. We just don't have a true working system. There's no way. Just think of it. If they pick Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, no one likes her now. And she's the vice president and no one likes her. All right? So I don't think she has a chance in hell to win. If they pick someone new, someone invigorating, someone who's actually like a powerful speaker like Trump is, to actually go head to head with Trump, all right? I think that's the best thing they could do. But at the same time, who are they going to pick that they're going to build up in only 3 months? That's right. The election is in November. They only have August, September, and October to build someone up as a legit presidential candidate. How are they going to do that? It's wild. Again, if they knew this, which they obviously did, they obviously knew that Biden wasn't going to be a fit president, right? Like, they just didn't care. And I hate to say it, here's the main difference between the two parties. The Republicans, when they get someone in charge like President Trump, he is President Trump. He is himself. And you take it for better or for worse. He's loud, he's braggadocious, he's outspoken, he's very, very coarse in how he speaks. He makes mean tweets, but that's President Trump. That is not tool of the Republican Party. That is actually President Trump. Okay? Joe Biden is literally a tool of the Democrat Party. He doesn't have an independent thought in his fucking head. He's 82 years old and he's decrepit. You know, he just does what he's told. I mean, they literally usher him around the stage. He doesn't even know where he is. So, you know that with Biden, all you ever got for 4 years was a joke, a tool to just push policies that the Democrats wanted through our government. So, Who are they going to pick is my question. This is unprecedented. I don't remember this ever happening. This is blowing my mind that this has happened. That's why I have to speak about it. And that's why I want to get it out of the way first before we get to all of my usual topics here on the show. But this just went from, I don't know what's going to happen in November, it's kind of crazy, to holy shit, we've got assassination attempts on candidates, this is wild and nuts, to oh my God, the president is dropping out of the election, this is insanity. Like, this is now bonkers. 100% nuts. Holy shit. There is no way that 2024 will not go down in history as the craziest year of American politics. It will. I can't imagine anything topping this. So, again, not that I'm going to sit here and talk about it at length, but I wanted to just discuss it now to get it out of the way so we can move on and just talk about the other stuff. So, man. No, and see, here we go. Here comes crazy conspiracy theories. Do you think that the assassination attempt had to do with this and that? Listen, of course, everything has to do with everything, right? What happened last week with Trump, right? 100% gave power to his backing, and now the Dems know Biden can't win. Biden cannot beat Trump. They know that now. So it's either we dump Biden and we get someone else who at least can compete with Trump for 3 months, even though they may not win, at least they have a fighting chance. So, yikes. Yes, the Dems. That's what they're called, the Dems, the Democrats, the Dems for sure. Correct. Wow. Wow. What's hilarious is people are like, oh no, it's just cognitive decline. That's what cognitive decline. Did his brain melt in the last 2 weeks? He's the same guy that he was before, and they said that he was fine. So again, you've been lied to. So why would you trust that party? By the way, I'm not saying that the Republicans don't do the same thing. They absolutely do. Both parties are lying, swindling, cheating, scumbag parties who only care about themselves and their own self-interest. They're not out to help you in any way, shape, or form at all. I mean, seriously, anything that they do has to benefit themselves. No, I'm not endorsing anyone for president. Absolutely not. Like I said, I don't like Trump. I don't. I really don't. I think that the guy's a scumbag. I know for a fact from my dealings that I had with him when I worked for a helicopter company, he wouldn't pay his bills, and he was just constant sleazeball, you know? And why did we know that? We've seen from his actions and everything, that's who he is. That's what I mean. Like, is there really hope for our country right now? I don't know, man. Like I said, and I said this last week in my video about the Trump assassination attempt and everything. I said, when you're going to vote, no, actually, I said this 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago during the debate debacle, right? If you're going to vote this November, all right? And I actually said, if you're going to vote, you should vote. But if you're going to vote, because a lot of people probably now are so disenfranchised, they don't want to vote anymore. They're like, fuck this. This system is bullshit. I don't care, right? But if you're going to vote in November, again, you've got to vote on what party's policies are probably going to benefit you and the country best. Don't vote on a candidate because you got one candidate that you know is terrible, but at least is cognitively sound, and you're going to have a phantom candidate who we don't even know who it is yet, and good luck trying to build them up in 3 months to be believable as president, you know? So, man, so vote for whatever, man, but this is wild. And again, the funny part about all this is, you do realize that these things going on will affect all of us in the United States, that is, and worldwide as well. Like, whoever gets elected may very well impact so many things in my life. They may impact prices. They may impact interest rates. They could impact laws, law enforcement. They could impact taxes. They could impact a million things just simply because one party got voted in over the other. But our government doesn't seem to take it that seriously. You know, to me, this feels like a soap opera. Does it not? It feels like an anime arc. It's a drama show. This isn't politics that it's for people trying to serve the American public, right? Because here's the truth. Public servant, right? If Joe Biden was a public servant, he would not have been doing what he's been doing for the last 4 years. He is in cognitive decline. We can all agree there. We've seen it, all right? He's older. He should not have been president. This should have never happened. He wasn't a public servant. He was a tool of the Democrat Party, all right? And that's the problem, is we have two parties that are self-serving themselves instead of the country. So for 4 years, we've had a joke instead of a president. And so all we've gotten was, well, whatever comes down the line from Democrats, whatever comes down the line from Democrats, whatever comes down the line. We don't have a human as a president. When Trump was president, he was a human as president. And that's why people were like, oh shit, this is not good, because he's not a level-headed guy, right? So now we got the nut job who goes crazy and causes controversy with what he says and does, or the complete empty-headed tool of the Democrat Party. What's worse? I don't even know. I don't know. Yeesh. Well, anyway, this is wild. So obviously what's going to end up happening is, there's going to be a lot of discourse now for the next week or two of who's going to be the Democratic candidate, and then they're going to announce it, and then they're going to have to do it. It's going to be like starting up again, like starting over. Because again, the whole thing is, what was the point of that debate of Biden versus Trump? It was a waste of everyone's time. Gee, thanks. Thanks, American government. We really care about the people, public servants. You wasted our fucking time, right? If the Democrats were smart, they would just start over. They would just take everyone who's in the upper positions of that party, who's over the age of like 60, and just kick them out. Just kick them all out and get people who are smart and vibrant and have like ideas and shit in there, instead of the old guard who obviously don't know what the fuck they're doing, because look what they've just done. And again, it's supposed to be a two-party system, but in reality, it's not. It's supposed to be a bunch of parties. It's just a two-party system. So when one party fucks up, the other one always benefits. But what about everyone else? Oh, no, they never have a chance. Unreal. People are saying that they already announced the candidate, but just so you know, it's not on social media. So what you're saying is moot until it's an actual official announcement, which isn't anywhere. Okay? Oh, it's Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is the new candidate. Here it is. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. No, there's no official candidate yet, so you can stop lying. It's on Biden's Twitter. He just put it up. Okay, let me check. If he literally just did it moments ago. No, no. You guys got it wrong. Biden is endorsing Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. That doesn't mean she's going to be the Democratic nominee. He's endorsing her. So he's backing her. That doesn't mean that she's going to be the candidate. You guys don't know how to read. That's not how it works. He's saying his vote for the next president is Kamala, but that doesn't mean that she's going to be the candidate. It's the Democratic Party will decide. Okay? So, anyway, this is just insanity. Wow. Dude, but do you understand, again, what a year? Why I don't want to do a DSP politics channel or anything yet. I want the dust to settle. Let's let this dust settle this year. Let's let this election go by. Let's let all the nonsense happen. And then once it settles in and we're set in for 4 years, maybe then I'll consider it. But this is just, it's too volatile. It's too much drama. It's too much garbage, to be frank. Again, this doesn't feel like reality to me. It doesn't. I feel like we're living in a drama show. We're living in a soap opera. We're living in an anime arc. We're living in some weird Truman Show. There you go. This is the Truman Show, right? This isn't real. We're all just sitting here. Everyone, wherever you are right now watching my stream, it's not real. It's all a set. At any moment, someone's going to accidentally open the door and you're going to see the whole set behind there exposed Because this is all, they're pranking us, right? This is some fucking punking to the next level. There's no way this could be real. I mean, this is nuts. So, I don't know, man. All right. So, anyway, that's all I really have to say, okay? That's all I really have to say for now. If more crazy stuff happens, I'll talk about it. But, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think that America's future is very bright right now at all. I don't see how things could go worse at this point. I guess we're gonna see what happens. But I have no clue who will actually be the candidate. Obviously, the president wants Kamala Harris, but I'm gonna be honest, people don't like Kamala Harris. The polling and everything is, people do not like that woman. They find her obnoxious. They find her like, most people don't even think she's intelligent, which is funny. But that's just the portrayal that they say in the media and everything. It's like, oh my God. So there you go. Rich88 just said the last president who did not run for re-election was Lyndon B. Johnson. Anyone remember Lyndon B? Good Lord. Anyway. All right. So that's it. I'm done. That's DS Politics for today. I just had to speak. So now you know my opinion. If anyone asks me about it, I'll say watch the Level 1 podcast from this morning. I did 20 minutes on it. We're moving past it now, and we can focus on what we're doing today. Today's React Day. And today we're going to react to a variety of clips. Yes, some of them are actually political. Others are not. It should be a good day. And we're going to get through it somehow. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to get through it. Here, let's briefly talk about the schedule for the week. Today's React Day. It's the clip show, DSP versus the Internet on DSP Reacts right after the show. And then tonight on the late stream, which this is going to be very fun, the conclusion of Retro React to Dark Souls 1. When I rage quit Dark Souls 1 back in 2011. That's going to be epic to see me explode and quit the game. And then I review it. So we're going to watch all that back tonight on the late stream. I hope you will join me. 6:45 p.m. Pacific time on DSP Throwback. That's going to be a special one because I don't think I've ever watched back one of my live rage quits like that before. That'll be neat. Okay. Excuse me. Tomorrow we're back to gameplay. Tomorrow is Fallout 4 returning with Nuka-Cola World continuing, and tomorrow night will be Stardew Valley Chill. Tuesday's up in the air. I don't know what I'm playing on Tuesday because yesterday we beat both the Elden Ring DLC and Riven Remake, which we're about to talk about in a moment. So we got to do something on Tuesday, but I'm not sure what to do. Simply because we have to pick something new. And I don't know if that means that we pick a brand new game or whatever. You know. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what we're doing Tuesday. We got to think about it. We have like a day or 2 days to figure it out. I actually have no clue what I want to do on Tuesday. I'm just completely, my mind is like, I don't know. Now it's even worse because now I have to try to think straight with all this crazy shit going on in American politics. It's like, how am I going to think about what to do on Tuesday? I don't know. So we got to think about it. We'll talk about it. Let me know your suggestions of what to start on Tuesday. And then Tuesday night will be Street Fighter 6. Okay? All right. Now, there's one thing that could change that schedule. All right? EVO is going on right now. And FYI, EVO this year is pretty crazy. They did the world's biggest Third Strike tournament and some of the most epic gameplay moments in Third Strike I've ever seen. Some insane parries and stuff. I was like, wow, even just glancing at a few moments last night that were posted up on like social media, I was like, wow, that tournament was wild and insane. So at EVO, they have a fully working, 100% ready to sell version of the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. It also got rated by the ESRB earlier this week. All signs point to the game will be announced today. The question is, when will it be released? Will it be a shadow drop where they say, oh, by the way, if it comes out, buy it now? If that's the case, I'm all over it. We will play it right away, okay? That's awesome. And I wish that they would do that. But we don't know if that's going to happen. They might be like, oh, it's releasing, but it releases in 2 weeks. And like, wait, what? I don't know why they would do that. Because the game literally is done. Like, they have it at EVO. They ran tournaments on it. It runs fine. So there's no reason for them to not just release the game. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. If they do it, that changes the whole schedule. Basically, we'll be playing it like a lot this week, and which I'm down for. We'll play it on PC. I'll get my Victrix here. We'll have a ton of fun playing the Marvel Collection together this week, experiencing all the different games, both offline and online. I'll take you through a tour of the Marvel versus games, which are super fun, and it'll just be a great time overall. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. Hopefully they do announce it. And by the way, guys, if they do that, if it gets announced today, please let me know so I can look up the details, and that way we can plan it and figure out the schedule for the week. Okay? I'm very excited for this, obviously. These are the games that I grew up playing in arcades, and I was actually quite good at back in the day. Of course, I haven't played them in ages, but I was quite good at them back in the day. Have to see what I can remember about them because it's been so long. If what gets announced, the Marvel vs. Capcom Collection. Basically, here's the deal. Yesterday, or was it the day before, they announced SVC Chaos, SNK versus Capcom Chaos, is now going to be released this week. And the reason everyone's suspecting why did they announce it so early in EVO is because the MVC Collection announcement was coming, and they wanted that to be the big announcement. So they had that game announced earlier so that the MVC Collection could be the big announcement for today, Finals Day. So, anyway. All right, so that's what's going on. Now, let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday, folks, I finished the Elden Ring DLC. Yes, it's official. I beat it. And the thing that gets me is, I guess some people just love to root against me. And I guess some people were like, they didn't think I was going to do it, or it was going to take me, like, longer than anything I've ever done before, which it didn't. I actually beat the final boss. But I guess we could start saying the name of the final boss now. I beat Radahn faster than I actually beat Malenia back in the original Elden Ring. And I think there's a couple reasons why. I mean, number one, I've been playing Soulsborne games for another 2 years, so I'm better at them than I was 2 years ago during Elden Ring. I just am. Like, I've gotten better at them. I mean, I've played so many different games, like Lies of P and Another Crab's Treasure. I did a second run in Elden Ring, so I've been playing them all along. It's not shocking that I'd be playing better, right? And if you look at my fight against Radahn, I learn all his boss patterns. The only reason I beat him is because I'm dodging everything, right? It's not like I use some cheese strategy. I was dodging. Okay, now is my time to hit. Dodge. Now time to hit. That's how I beat him. So it wasn't like me abusing some crazy overpowered nonsense or anything like that. Not at all. But the other thing is, Malenia, when she hits you, she heals herself, right? So I feel that is like a harder thing to overcome when you're first trying to kill a boss for the first time, because at any moment, if you make a mistake, basically your run is shot. You know, oh, I was doing so well. Oops, I made a mistake. She got all her health back. Well, what a waste of time, right? And not to say that with Radahn, it's not similar. Like Radahn, depending on how you're fighting him, can take forever. Like that, when I first started fighting Radahn, I had the shield and the counter guard build, right? The counterattack, guard counter build. It works. The guard counter build actually does work. Okay? But the problem is it takes forever. Like, you gotta block a zillion times just to get the one guard counter in at the end of the string of attacks. You've got to be blocking really well because you can't just hold it. You have to, like, tap it so that you can be getting your stamina back between the hits, or else you run out of stamina and you get staggered. Like, there's a lot to it. But what I was getting to his second form with the guard counter build, the problem was it was just taking way too long. Do I really want to play 5 to 10 minutes each time just to see the second form, but then get demolished and learn nothing? No. I want to be getting consistently to that second form as much as I can. So that's why after trying the guard counter build, I said, oh, then I tried the sword. I said, nah, forget this. And then I finally went to dual hammers, and with the dual hammers, at least I was doing big damage. And I was like, all right, now at least I can realistically get to a point where I can get to the second form, you know, relatively quickly. But then I realized the dual hammers weren't doing that well for second form. I needed something better than that. I needed something that was going to stagger him. The dual hammers, if you can believe it, weren't staggering him. And so that's when someone recommended do a bleed build with this club that is a new weapon that was for the DLC. That apparently that club originally, it's called Blood Fiend Arm, I think. I think originally it actually was overpowered, and FromSoft nerfed it like weeks ago. They patched the game and made it way less of an overpowered deal. So after they balanced it, now apparently it's quite a fair weapon. So you know, I listened to your advice. I built the build properly, respect to Arcane, and yesterday took about 2.5 hours of playing with this bleed build. And basically what I did is I learned the first phase enough that I didn't have to just constantly dodge. I could bully him. I was bullying Radon. I was running up and pound him again, just take a hit. I don't care if I take a hit. I'm hitting him with stagger and bleed build. So I don't care that I'm losing health and everything, because I'm going to stagger him any second. And basically when you get him down to about half life, that's when you get to the second phase. That's all I'm looking for. And I only needed to hit him 3 heavy R2s, because it's this attack with this blood arm. He goes, ooh, ooh. It's like a 2-hit bump, like boom, boom. And when it does that, it does big build, bleed up and everything, and stagger. And if you hit him with 3 of those in a row, he staggers. So you need to do it without dying. So I basically found ways in his fighting pattern to hit him at least once or twice right away, and then just look for the third one. And after that, it's pretty much academic just to get to phase 2, which then allowed me to start learning phase 2 better. And man, I still think phase 2, some of those attacks in Radon's phase 2 are quite ridiculous. Like, I still don't know when he does the vacuum, the gravity vacuum, right? Unless you dodge it, which is kind of chance, because there's a bunch of attacks that look the same, so good luck dodging that on reaction. I actually don't know how you're supposed to avoid it, because he literally goes gravity vacuum, giant gravity pound wave, which you can't really dodge effectively. Then he jumps up and lands down again with his teleport holy attack that you can't seem to get out of the way. Then there's a big wave of light, and then there's another second wave of gravity attack. And that's all back to back. How in the hell are you going to roll through that? Right? What do you have, like 17 stamina bars? Like, what do they expect you to do there? I really don't know. But again, what I noticed is if you bully him, even in the second form, it works. Like, if you get in on him and you kind of ignore a hit or two, like, I'm going to take damage, I don't care. Get in your first couple of hits and then just look for the stagger. Once he basically gets staggered, it's kind of in your favor now, you know? But even then, there could be some bad luck. He's got a teleport attack where he just goes like this, charges, and zoop, goes across the screen. And if you don't dodge right away, you're instantly dead. He just insta-kills you. And you're like, oh my god. So, is he cheap? I would say there's 1 or 2 attacks of his that are quite cheap and unfair. Most of his attacks are fair. The problem is it takes so long to get consistently to phase 2 to see and learn those attacks that it makes the fight hard. Like, if you could easily get to phase 2 to learn the attacks, it wouldn't be a big deal. But phase 1's a pain in the ass to get past, to get to that phase 2. So that's really where the real challenge is. Once I started consistently just going right through phase 1 to 2, I was learning the fight, and that within an hour I beat it, you know? So in reality, the boss fight's an hour long, but you have to consistently be able to beat phase 1, which took me like 3 hours to learn, you see? Anyway, yeah, so yesterday, after 2.5 hours, we did it. I beat him, and we saw the end of the plot line, which is essentially you get a cutscene, and then you go back to the St. Trina area, and you get a little resolution there to the plot, and then that's it. Like, the DLC is basically over with no real ending. Like, unlike the regular Elden Ring, there's no ending to Shadow of the Erdtree. You won. You did it. You beat everything. It's now completed. There's not even, like, there's no NPCs to even talk to or anything. They're all gone. Like, they just disappear from the game. So there's nothing, like, there's no epilogue or anything. So, after that, I had a little bit of extra time, and everyone's like, what do we do? I said, well, we'll look at the remembrance at the 2 fingers and just see what it is, which we did. We saw you get Radon's armor set, his younger armor set. You also get either of his swords, or you get both if you clone the remembrance. And what else? Oh, and then I said, you know what? Let's actually finish the game. Like, why not? Let's actually beat it. So we did. We went and we fought Radagon and the Elden Beast. And the cool thing is they have patched the main game. You now can use Torrent during the Elden Beast fight. It makes the fight fun. Like, the original Elden Beast fight is just stupid. It's you against a giant monster, but the thing runs away constantly, so you can barely get to it. It's just like a really tedious bore of a fight. It really is a poor final fight. I think it's actually weak for a final boss of the game. So the fact that you can now ride on torrent means you have a chance to follow him and actually like face him on even ground, and it makes the fight much easier, but it also made it fun. So basically it took me like a bunch of tries, like 4 or 5 tries to beat Radagon, but then once I got to the Elden Beast, I one-shotted it. That was it. And that was the end of the game, and I was like, cool. And then we actually chose the Ronnie ending. So we got through, if you do all the math, okay, original attempt at fighting, the original attempt at fighting Radon was like maybe 30 minutes, and then I was out of time. Then the second attempt was about 3 hours, but out of the 3 hours, like 45 minutes was respecking. So you could argue between the first and second attempts, it was about 3 hours. And then yesterday, it was about 2.5 hours. So basically, it took me about 5.5 hours to beat Radon. Melania took longer. I remember Melania, the first stream was like 45 minutes. Then it was like a full 3-hour stream. And then it was like another 2.5 hours. So I would say Melania, or I keep saying Melania, it's Melania. I would say Melania took about around 6 to 6.5 hours. And again, I think that was because she just kept auto healing, which is super duper annoying. You know, it just makes it harder for that first time. Because you notice the second time I fought her, just recently, a couple months ago, with the magic build, I beat her in 2 hours because I learned her first pattern, zoned her with magic. Second pattern, I basically learned how to bully her with the sword, the magic sword, Dark Moon sword, or whatever it is. And that was that. So, yeah. If I fought Radon again, would it be easier? Probably, yeah. Because now what I do, I would just keep bullying him. I'd find other builds that bully him, and I would just keep staying on him and pounding him, keep staggering him, so you just get right to phase 2, and then it's not that hard, you know? So, anyway, Elden Ring is done. So what are my final thoughts on Shadow of the Erdtree? Let's be honest, okay? Are there good things about it? Absolutely. First of all, for a $40 DLC, I got 40 hours of content out of it. Could I have gotten a little bit more content? Yeah, but not that much. I actually did every single optional dungeon, every notable dungeon. I did all the optional bosses except for the Deathrite birds, because those are exactly the same as the main game. Much like the Drakes, I was like, I don't see the point of going through this over and over and fighting these guys. They don't add anything. And then there was the one optional dragon boss that's standing in a pool of water, so it's stupid lightning damage. And I didn't go back to fight. I've already beat those a million times in the main game. It wouldn't be a big deal now to go back and beat it at the end. I probably would beat it easily now. Now that I got so many more levels and everything. Remember, I went to Bale relatively early on in the DLC. So, anyway, yeah, like, I did everything, and it was 40 hours. I did everything in Elden Ring, the original, and it was over 100 hours. Elden Ring, the original, was $70. This was 40. So is it really equivalent in scale? Honestly, no. If you actually do apples to apples, a dollar an hour for the DLC, while it was probably like 50 cents an hour for the original game. So there's definitely more content to the original game. All right. But if you're a fan of Elden Ring, you're probably happy to get more Elden Ring, and you don't care that you're paying a little bit more of a premium of price for the content. Okay? There's things I liked about the DLC and things I didn't. Whenever you got to a unique area of the map that had like something really cool level design, the beautiful blue and red flowered fields, right? Or when first time I got to the Finger Hills. Now they suck because they're empty, but man, they look cool the first time you arrive there, right? And you're like blown away. And the verticality of this map, where everywhere you are, there's essentially multiple levels that you can explore. That's really cool, all right? I really liked that about it. But let's be honest, it's a lot of open world exploration that's kind of boring. There was a lot of areas I went to. There's literally nothing there but like one item I don't need. So why am I here for, right? The entire first area is super boring. It's a bunch of open area with stupid phantom gravestones and sheep. Why does this even exist? Like, why is this here? You don't need it. It's like 3 hours of the first part of the game is this boring area. They didn't need to put it there, but they wanted to have like a slow starter area or whatever. It was kind of stupid, actually. So I still feel like the open world is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you're having a lot of fun if it's something unique and different, and sometimes it's like, wow, this really stinks. It's boring. Why is this even here? I'm searching. There's nothing here. Why am I here? Dungeons, legacy dungeons, they were quite good. I like one of my favorites in this one. I would say the tower, which is the first legacy dungeon, is really good. I would say the hidden dungeon with the Saint Trina stuff The underground dungeon, that was really cool. And I mean, honestly, probably the final dungeon. Those are probably my 3 favorites. There's more than that, but those are probably my 3 favorites. I do wish there were more, but I think, how many were there? 5? Because there's the tower, there's the castle, and Ennis, or whatever it's called, Ensis. There's the underground secret dungeon with Saint Trina. There's the manor, or not the manor, the church, whatever it is, that's the Lord of Flame is there. There's the final dungeon, that's 5. Oh, of course, there's the main Shadow Keep, and the Shadow Keep is literally 3 legacy dungeons in one. It's 3 different runs, so technically, I guess you could consider there's 8 legacy dungeons, even though technically there's only 5. You could argue that there's 8. They're done pretty well, I would say. I like all the legacy dungeons in the game. Bosses are hit or miss. Some bosses were cool. Like, I think my favorite boss is Bale. But not only Bale because he's an insanely huge, cool dragon, but the lore behind it. I mean, when you're fighting Bale, you can literally see Lord Placidusax's heads that were ripped off and bit his head and are attached to it permanently. That was crazy. I was like, holy shit. That's some crazy lore right there. Because now you know where the heads went. When you fought him and he was missing heads, that's where the heads went. You know? And I like the Lord of Flames, Frenzied Flame, and I think the Dancing Lion. I think those are my 3 favorite bosses of the DLC. Honestly, Radahn as a final boss, he was good, but he's definitely better than Elden Beast. Don't get me wrong. Like, Elden Beast sucks. But I don't know if I liked them that much. I think they could have been a better choice for a final boss. I think a lot of people wanted to see Godwyn or Mikola himself instead of Radahn. It was kind of like a weird shock. I think what it is they wanted a bait and switch. So no one would have expected that Radahn would have been the boss because he's already dead, right? Which I agree, like, that it's shocking when you first see it, like, what the hell? Like, I never thought that he would have been the boss. The optional dungeons, all right? There's 3 kinds. The mausoleums, the jails, and the blacksmith anvil, what are they called? Not workshops. I can't remember. Furnaces, the furnaces. I liked the furnaces a lot. I liked the jails a lot. Why? Because they were new. The mausoleums sucked ass. They're boring. They're labyrinthian. They take too long to get through. And there really is no point in doing them unless you need an item in them. Of course, you don't know what items are in them. So you end up wasting a lot of time on them. I just didn't like them. I think the mausoleums sucked ass. But the other 2 optional dungeons actually were quite good. And I liked them. So, yeah, the Anvil Forges and the jails actually were good. I enjoyed those. So, the dungeons are all fine. A few are better than others. Some of the bosses are epic. Some are not so epic and not so good. Okay, here's what's the best thing about the DLC. They went all out with the new items and variety. That's the best thing about Shadow of the Erdtree. Because they knew this was the last piece of content for Elden Ring. So they said, here's a ridiculous amount of new things you can do. Have weapons that can infinitely be thrown because they respawn in your hand after you throw them. Have a broken bleed build, broken sleep build, broken, everything just over the top status effects, right? They did it on purpose. They wanted to give you the wildest weapons because they knew this is the last hurrah for Elden Ring 1. The sequel will have more stuff. But they just wanted to just give you one last explosion of content. And I was like, I liked that a lot. Like, just look at me and what I did during this 40-hour run. I mean, I switched builds how many times? I started off with magic build, changed to dual lightning axes, then changed to the giant anvil hammer, right? Then I changed to, I'm trying to think of all the things I changed to. After the anvil hammer, we went to the guard counter build, correct? Then after that, we went to the double hammer build, and we used that for quite some time. Then I was alternating between the two. Then I got the Sword of Damnation, and I was using that. Then I had a parry build, because I needed to do that to get through the Abyss, so we did the parry build for a while. And then, then at the end, I guess you could consider the final new build I did was the bleed build. So that's what, like 6 to 7 builds? All within one playthrough. And it's actually funny because people were like, first of all, people were like, well, we don't like the fact that you just keep sticking with the same build. You should mix it up. Okay. So then I'm mixing it up constantly, and people were like, So we don't like the fact that you're changing builds. You can never really master one. I'm like, oh, you can't win with these people. Again, what I find is when I play certain types of games, it doesn't matter what you do, you can't please people. And definitely, in the case of Elden Ring or FromSoft games in particular, you just can't please people. No matter how I play it, no matter what I do, somehow I'm in the wrong and I'm doing stuff wrong. That's what people say no matter what. Okay. Oh, every single build is a cheese build. You cheated the game. Obviously, you looked up every single build online and copied somebody else. I literally have not seen a single person play this DLC besides one. And I only did that like the day it came out and never watched it again. So literally, I've only seen myself play the game. There's no way I can even copy someone else's build. But again, people just make stuff up because they're idiotic losers who want to believe drama for drama's sake. No, everything there was based on me doing it on the fly during the playthrough or on feedback from chat, which people helped me quite a bit during this playthrough. And I appreciate that because it allowed for the variety that we had. And that's right. It's like Jason just said in chat. It's like you're saying you just want to gatekeep anyone who uses in-game mechanics and just call them casuals. Exactly right. The game has all these weapons. The game has all these builds. It doesn't matter. If it's in the game, it's in the game. Now, some things did get patched out, right? And that's then you understand, okay, even FromSoft recognized, man, that was overpowered. I didn't use any of those. Wasn't using any of the overpowered shit at all. Nothing that I was using got nerfed or anything. You know, I only used the bleed build for the final boss. It had already been nerfed. So it's all fair game. It is. You know, hell, if I had summoned the entire DLC, that would have been okay too. But I understand that that wouldn't have been entertaining. Can you imagine if I only beat Radon because I summoned? Then it would have been boring. Everyone would have complained. I wanted to give you the honest shot. And let's be honest, the 5.5 hours of me beating him legit was fun. It was grueling. It was very stressful, but it was fun, right? So there you go. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the playthrough. I liked it. So Shadow of the Erdtree, it's a fine DLC, especially if you're someone who really, really likes Elden Ring and you just want more of the same. But the one thing I'll say is don't expect too much innovation. The biggest innovation isn't the amount of weapons they give you and how they do play differently from builds in the original game. And they go all out with that. But outside of that, it's just more dungeons, more open world exploration, more bosses, and a lot of repetition. Yes, there's a million drakes. It's like, oh my god, why the fuck are there so many drakes in this DLC? Didn't we fight enough of them in the main game? Apparently not. Okay. All right, so I had a good time with it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And it's done. Now, another game, I beat 2 games yesterday. I actually beat Riven Remake last night. And let me tell you guys something. Like, I don't think Phil of today, 2024, versus Phil of 2008 when I started this, I don't think I could be more of a different person. The reason I say that is because last night I'm doing Riven Remake, right? And the final puzzle of the game requires you to crack a codex. You have to figure out basically a numerical code that includes not only regular numbers that we know, but a symbol system and a second symbol system. One symbol system is just based on like, add this to this and it becomes this. But then there's another symbol system that's actually, you have to count going around in a circle the amount of symbols that are there. And sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's double. It's a really complex system. And I actually figured it out on the fly, live on stream. The Phil of 16 years ago would have never done that. The Phil of 16 years ago would have sat here and raged and said, this is stupid. What a dumb game. Who the fuck would want to figure this out? How is this fun? Instead, I actually sat there and I applied myself to it. And on the fly, I talked it out publicly with the audience and figured it out. And I was like, wow, I actually impressed myself because that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of thing that would be on an IQ test. Well, you know, here's a pattern, a series of symbols. What's the next symbol? So you have to, on the fly, figure out the symbol system, right? And then figure out what would be the next symbol in this sequence. And that's stuff, I'm going to be honest, that's stuff that I wasn't good at. And I actually did it legit last night to beat Riven. And I was like, wow, I've impressed myself. It's kind of like right now, me playing Street Fighter in Street Fighter 6 is the best I feel I've played competitive Street Fighter. All right? And I want to repeat that. I actually feel like me playing Street Fighter 6 now, this is the best I've been at Street Fighter. You could argue, well, what about your days in Super Turbo back in the day? Well, yeah, I was playing at a high tournament level back then. But modern Street Fighter, has more to it. Modern Street Fighter has a ridiculous amount of mechanics and muscle memory and things you need. You know, Super Turbo is very simple. Yes, I have an incredible amount of knowledge of Super Turbo, and I have great execution and timing from playing it so much, but it takes more to play Street Fighter 6 at a competitive level than it does Super Turbo. That's just a fact, okay? And so I feel like right now, in 42 years old, my brain is kind of at the best it's ever been. I'm solving complex codex puzzles live on a stream for the finale of a game. I'm playing Street Fighter at a high competitive level. I'm beating the toughest boss in FromSoft history legit without summoning. It's pretty nuts what I'm pulling off here in the modern day. It's wild. Of course, now nobody cares. And of course, that's a gross over-exaggeration. And I don't want to downplay those of you who like me and watch my content and support it. Okay? I appreciate that. When I say nobody cares, sadly, it's just a feeling that I have. It's not resentment. It's more like sadness that back in the day when I was an asshole, when I was a fool, right? I wasn't good at games. I was just sitting there ranting, raving, swearing, saying controversial, dumb shit constantly, right? All that stuff. That's when I was at the height of my popularity. If only what I was doing today is what I was doing 12 years ago, you know, 2011, 2012, when I was getting insane views on YouTube, I think things could have been a lot different. Because what ended up happening was I got known as that clown who sucked at games, who didn't appreciate his audience, who didn't do the right stuff, and squandered all of that, right? Yeah, I mean, to some extent, I do look back and I have to agree with that. Now, the thing is, I have no aspirations to be some giant celebrity or to be rich or anything like that. I'm very happy with where I am. But, I mean, it stands to reason. Let's be honest. Take a look at where I am in Street Fighter. Take a look at where I am in Elden Ring. Take a look at what I just did in Riven last night. Can you name one other content creator who just did that in 2 days? Did all that shit, a variety of challenging content in 2 fucking days back to back? If someone else who was notable did it, it would be like the talk of the town. Oh my God, this guy's like one of the best gamers. Do you believe that he fucking got, you know, this crazy streak of high-end gameplay in Street Fighter 6? Then he beat Radon legit in Elden Ring. Then he fucking did this crazy codex thing in Riven. And it's all on stream live, so it's all legit. It's not like he faked it. You know, that's the kind of shit you hear someone faked it, right? You know? But because it's Dark Side Phil, nobody cares. And again, it's not that nobody cares. That's a gross over-exaggeration. Because it's Dark Side Phil who did it, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's a throwaway. It's throwaway. It's disposable. It means nothing at all, right? And that's sad, because again, 12 years ago, everyone would have been talking about it on YouTube. They would have been like, wow, this guy is crazy. Look at all this crazy stuff he's doing, right? Yes, hundreds of streamers have beaten Radon Crema de Coco, and how many of them did it legit? How many of them did it legit without summoning or you know, broken build stuff, right? I'm not saying it's not a lot, probably still hundreds, but I'm one of them, right? I'm literally one of them that did it legit. That's an accomplishment in itself. And then how many of them were playing at master level and doing well in Street Fighter 6? And how many of them did a crazy... That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like back to back to back cool high-level stuff I've been doing in games recently. But no one will ever talk about it. Oh, it's not a big deal. All right. Well, fair enough. Right? Fair enough. Yes, you're saying Kai Sennett did it. That's right. Yeah, Kai Sennett. People said he did it in 99 hours. I did it in 5.5. And by the way, I had like 400 people on stream, half of which were all talking shit constantly. People screaming, just change your build, change your build, change your build. What the fuck? Shut up. No, I'm going to beat him like this. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Why are you screaming at me to change my build? It's not like, you know, Kai's on a stream. He probably has 40,000 people all cheering for him, right? Everyone's excited. Everyone's all pumped for it and shit. And for me, it's kind of like, I always feel like I'm fighting a battle, but it's just for myself. Because let's be honest, if I didn't beat Radon, who would have cared? No one. You know? But it's fine. I understand. I'm not who I used to be, that's for sure. It's just kind of like, You got to accept it. It's resignation. It's like, yeah, it is what it is. If this happened 12 years ago, things would have been very different. But it's just, 12 years ago, I was an idiot. Right? I was a complete moron. And I acted like a fool. And I didn't take a look at industry changes coming. And I didn't want to listen to feedback to improve. And I didn't want to listen to what my fans were telling me. I did a bunch of stuff that was wrong if I wanted to grow or at least stay where I was. Right? And then I just had a big string of bad luck when it came to becoming kind of a negative meme on the internet. And it's all history now. You know what I mean? It's all history. So I'm kind of like, I've accepted all of it. At 42, I'm happy where we are. I like the fact that we have a good time together no matter what I play. But it does, I mean, like to give you some perspective here. Even in the last 10 years, when I was playing Bloodborne, when I was playing Dark Souls 2 and 3, when I was playing those games, it had a big fight feel. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It had those events had a big fight feel to them. Now I don't really get that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, nah. Like when I was fighting the epic bosses in those games, it was like, oh, everyone's gonna be on stream, everyone wants to see it. Then it's like, I beat him, it's no big deal. And that kind of sucks. I wish that there was a better feeling of hype and a better feeling of excitement behind this stuff, but I don't really get it anymore. I think it's because, number one, I've been doing this for 16 years, and number two, because let's be honest, I just don't get that level of positivity behind me anymore. I don't, yes, there are people rooting for me, and I'm happy that I have the small positive fan base that I have, but it does kind of suck. If I had quit on Radon and said I'm not doing it, that would have been news. But because I beat him legit in 5.5 hours, that will never be news, right? So I think you understand where I'm coming from now, right? If I rage quit Street Fighter 6 and have a bad day, that's news. If I play the best stream I've ever done in Street Fighter 6, getting crazy wins, getting to over 1,600 ranking points, that's not news. Nobody cares. You see? Everyone just wants the toxic and the negative. No one cares about the positive. That is disheartening. I wish we could have more people who cared about the positive. I like that crowd. I want more of that crowd. And sadly, it's rare that we really get that these days, because we people who root against me rather than for me. And that's frustrating, But I guess that's life, right? What's the saying? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. So I used to be the hero everyone rooted for. And now I'm still around. I'm still resilient. I'm still making content. I'm literally doing more difficult accomplishments than I've ever done before. But now everyone just sees me as the guy to root against, right? So it just changes. It is what it is, I guess. People want me to be the heel. They want me to be the villain. I don't necessarily want to be the villain, but it seems like that's the role that life has given me. And so, what do you do? I guess you roll with it. But the thing is, I'm not going to be... I'm definitely not going to be playing up that. I'm not going to be Mr. Drama. I'm not going to be some guy who becomes a heinous person on the internet saying awful things. And, I'm not going to do that. I could. People told me to do that ages ago. And I was like, nah. I am who I am. I'm not going to become one of these people who's just a toxic jerk. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to stick to where I am. And again, I'm happy where I am. It's just crazy to me because this really have been a couple intense days. Super intense day of Street Fighter. Intense day of Elden Ring, and then at the same time, one of the craziest puzzles I've ever solved in a video game, probably the hardest. Like, that codex was seriously tough to figure out, and then it's like that. No one cares. No one's even saying a word about it. No one gives a shit. What are people talking about? That a pro wrestler Mansoor tagged me on Twitter. Woo! Wow! What an amazing accomplishment, right? Like, what? Well, that's real news, huh? Is it really? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Oh, no, I know. And I'm not shit-talking Mansoor. He's a great guy. He was actually very nice. He actually quoted a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, he quoted the crouch jump from Black Mesa playthrough. He quoted the song Do You Call My Name by from Ra, who was the song I used to use in my Hateful Truth reviews. So he's actually a legit fan. Which is nice to know that I actually have legit fans out there who probably are The silent majority, people who are my fans, don't speak up because they don't want to be harassed by the insane people who stalk me and everyone else around me who's positive. So I get that. I really do. You know. All right. Well, guys, that's that. I think we covered the topics. We talked about the schedule. We talked about politics, and we talked about Elden Ring and Riven. Ending of Riven was great. I hope that you'll check it out if you like old school stuff. I hope that they remake the other games because there were 4 of them, I think, in that series. I'd like to play the future ones too. So, okay. I'm going to go put this pen back on my desk. I noticed it here, and then we're going to do shout-outs, okay? Whew. Okay, so let's do some shout outs now, guys. As you know, today's React Day. All right, and you know, I aim for a certain level of support each stream, $50 of tips. You know, we're gonna, after this podcast ends, we're gonna head over to the React show. I hope that you guys will support the show. Last week, sadly, was very low support on the React show. I don't know why, because usually we do get good support on it, so I don't know if anything caused it or not. But if you like the content, please support it. Anything you contribute right now during the podcast counts towards that show. So it'd be great if you could, all right? Please support if you can. All right, shout-outs. We start off today with Avarice. 9 months as a member, says, thank you for never quitting and always leading us. There you go. Yes, I will never quit on you like Joe Biden. Never. Wow. What a thing. What a thing to be saying. But it's literally true. That's the thing. It's actually true. Wow. Anyway, Farch did a couple of super chats. His first super chat, he says, I support DS Politics. It's good content. Well, I don't have DS Politics or anything like that yet. Maybe one day I will. But as of now, I do not. And then Farch did a second super chat. He said, Biden has announced Kamala will be running. Wrong. He said, he endorsed Kamala as the candidate. That doesn't mean she's going to be the official candidate of the Democratic Party. It just means that's his personal choice. Rich88, 11 months as a member, says the last president to not run for re-election was Lyndon B. Johnson. I do feel like that's crazy, right? It's true. I mean, you know how long ago that was? Pretty insane. So this is definitely a huge moment in American history. And then Abdullah did a super chat. Will React Day ever go away? I feel like it takes an entire day away from gaming. I wonder if it will become a gaming day or a second day off for you during the week. That's the point. The point of React Day is to break up the gaming. If I just do gaming every day, it starts to feel a little stale. Doing the React stuff breaks it up, gives us variety. Now I have people who come to my different channels for different things. There's a steady audience for React stuff on both channels now, actually. Both on the React channel and on the Throwback channel, and it's working. That's why I do it. If I noticed that there was going to be a big drop-off or whatever, I would stop. But no, it's consistent. It's consistent. And, by the way, next month there will be more reacting because... there will be more reacting because next month I'm going to react to the Review Tech USA documentary by June the King, and then I'm going to be reacting to my own documentary by June the King. So there's going to be a lot more reacting next month, notably because there's no new games until the 20th, so I'll try to, hopefully I'll get all that in before then, but we don't know exactly when those documentaries are releasing. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, so Abdullah, thank you for that super chat. And then Abdullah re-upped his membership for 20 months. It says, we need Street Fighter 6 today. No, we certainly do not. I was so beat on Friday from playing it all day. I'm happy I'm taking these several days away, but it will return on Tuesday night. And then Bloom gets into the super chat. Phil for president 2024. Absolutely not. Maybe someday. Maybe I will run for president someday. What do you think? I mean, let's be honest. If Donald Trump can become president with all the controversy he's been through, which is way more serious than anything I've ever been through, and if Joe Biden can be president and he's not even, like, mentally sound to be a human, I'm pretty sure I could get elected too. Now, all I need is about, I don't know, a few $100 million in campaign funding to run an actual campaign, because no one will actually know who I am or see the campaign unless I become rich. So I just need to become rich. Does anyone know how to do that? Anyone know how to, anyone actually know what I could do to become rich so I could run for president? I'd have to leave the house more than once a week. Actually, that's not true. That's not true at all. I could do it all from right here. I would be the first president in American history to run the country from his office. I would live stream myself everywhere. I would just get a more patriotic background. We get some flags and shit back here, but it would be perfect. Live over the internet, President Burnell. There you go. Oh, you don't want... Me and Trump debating would be great because we would get into a giant insult match. He would hit low and he would say all the horrible things that everyone knows about me. And then I would bring up all the horrible shit about him. It would just be the biggest crazy bluster match ever. That would be great. All right. So anyway, thank you all there for your shout outs. I received no tips whatsoever today. None. Zero. So I have nothing to shout out there. Sadly, but I hope that I will hit the $50. I'm just trying to see if there's any official word about MVC. There's not. Nope, still looking, nothing. Damn it, man. Give us the information about MVC. Give us the MVC Collection information right now. I demand it. I want MVC Collection now. I want it. I want to play it. I want to make tons of content of it. I'm ready. My week is ready. Like, there's really nothing going on this week. It's the return of Fallout. This is the week. Would be perfect if MVC dropped tonight. Tomorrow, I would play it. I'm serious. Tomorrow's schedule would change. I would play the MVC Collection. Tomorrow. Excuse me. I'm ready for it. Aren't you? I'm ready. I want the versus games in my life. I want to play them on PC with my Victrix. I want to show you epic gameplay, combos, cool knowledge of all the things that I know about the games. I want it. If it dropped right now, would I scrap the React Day? No. We're already in the midst of React Day. We're not going to change that. But tomorrow would change immediately. We would be playing it tomorrow. Immediately. That's right. As your future presidential candidate, I demand, I don't request, I demand that they drop the MVC Collection right now, this very moment. And then we could all have epic versus gameplay all day, week long, right? I demand it. Hold on. As your evil psycho power dictator of Shadaloo, I demand that Capcom drop the MVC Collection right now. Do it now. Or else you're going to make me upset. And you wouldn't like me when I'm upset. Because I'm very whiny and annoying when I'm upset. Okay? I demand it. For God's sakes, drop that game now. Stop holding off. No one needs you to hold off. Stop edging us. Okay, anyway. All right. Does anyone have any topics they'd like to talk about today? Anything interesting? Oh, do they really? Abdullah says they now have limited editions of the Victrix Pro FS. So one of it has King of Fighter characters like Tyrion and Iori, and they have a new version with Akuma. That's cool. Although, honestly, I like this one. I like that it's white because it's generic and it kind of applies to anything. I also like the color change feature because I used to have joysticks that were character branded. They were nice, but then what happens when you don't care about that character anymore or that game's not prominent anymore? Now your stick is like outdated. So I actually prefer the more generic one. I really like this one. I'm happy. And thank you so much again to the person who donated this. This week with this stick has been amazing. As you see, I've done the best Street Fighter 6 gameplay I've ever done. I did on this stick this week. Thank you so very much. Excuse me. Spawn Killer did a super chat. He says, what was worse, the PlayStation Move or the Xbox Kinect? Well, see, it depends. If you're talking functionality, it was the Kinect. The Kinect barely worked at any form or function. Like, you would try to use it, half the time it wouldn't track you properly. So actually trying to play games on that thing was a nightmare. But at the same time, even though the PS Move looked better, even though the PS Move controlled much better, when you use the Move controllers, you actually could do more, and it would work better with games. It did look like you were holding two giant swollen testicles. So, would you rather actually waggle around with motion controls that don't work, or would you rather look like you're giving two handies at the same time? So, it's your pick. I guess pick your poison. But definitely the PS Move worked better. All right? Okay. Did PS Move actually have any good games to use with it? I played a bunch of them, but I couldn't tell you. You'd have to go back and look at my PS Move catalog of playthroughs, and nothing really comes to mind. Like some of the games, I know, for example, was it Mag? I think used it. And it wasn't very good, so I didn't like using it. Because there were some games you would actually have the whole rifle, and you would put the PS Move controller in the rifle, and so you would use the rifle to play. But even then, it didn't necessarily control any better than the controller, you know? No, I have not heard that song, Generation Z. I don't listen to modern music. Derek, happy Sunday to you. Was it SOCOM 4? Is that what used the gun? Because I had the giant gun. I bought it and everything. I don't remember what the games were that I used it on. How's the weather? Much cooler today. We will still be in the 80s today, but because there's full cloud cover, it's staying much cooler outside. They're saying by like 5 to 6 p.m., the sun will be out and it'll be 80 again. But then starting tomorrow, it's going to cool down for a straight 5 days. It'll only be in the 70s. So hopefully we'll get some actual better weather now. Yes, Mark, I know SVC Chaos released on Steam yesterday, and it's coming to consoles later this week. Sadly, that game's not good, just to forewarn everyone. If you saw the announcement for SVC Chaos, SNK versus Capcom Chaos, that game is not good. It was released, and it flopped. No one liked it. Tournaments really weren't even held for it. The reason they're doing it is to build on hype. Like I said, I really feel strongly that today they're going to announce the MVC Collection's release date, and it might even be this week. And because of that, they wanted to announce SVC Chaos a couple days early, so that way people got hyped for it first and maybe bought the PC version first to play it before. Because when MVC Collection comes out, that's all anyone's going to play. Okay? So, yeah. SVC Chaos is not a good game. It's fun because it actually, you see Capcom characters drawn in the SNK style, which is very unique. But the game plays horribly. It's not a good playing game. Yeah, it's made by SNK. SVC Chaos is made by SNK, so it's kind of like a hybrid of King of Fighters and a little bit of Street Fighter element. But it does not play like Street Fighter, and that's why it's not very good. No, it's not. It's unpolished. It's freaking unbalanced. Like, there's a few characters that are insanely broken that just destroy everybody else in the game. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't play soundly like a Street Fighter game. There's a lot of wonkiness to it. To give you perspective, Capcom versus SNK 2 is the best straight-up crossover game ever made. And then SVC Chaos is, like, way inferior, but came out after. Yeah, that's the one Evil Ken came from. That's correct. Yeah, Zero. So Zero, who went on to be very famous from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, he actually debuted as a fighting game in SVC Chaos, and he's literally the best character in the game. He's unstoppable. Like, he just cuts through everything. It's ridiculous. Like, he's not even balanced as a fighting game character. There's no reason for him to be in it. They put him in, it's so broken. Like, what did you do? Okay, I did actually get a tip. I got a $1.25 tip from Mr. Puffy Nipples. I remember when the PS Move came out, you played PlayStation Champions and you were drunk. It was hilarious. I don't remember that at all. Maybe we should watch that someday. You guys remember that? I don't remember that. PlayStation Champions? What? And I was drunk? I totally don't remember that. Yes, the MVC Collection has full online for all of the games in the collection. They all can be played online. Yes, I would love to see a Capcom versus SNK game, a new one. That would be awesome. Do I think Sonic Cross Shadow will be better than Sonic Frontiers? You know, I don't know, but I mean, Sonic Generations is a great game. So it's that plus extra content. You think it's still going to be good, right? Wade Mills says, if they hold an online MVC1 tournament in the future, would we be interested? And would you say Wolverine is a better character than Strider in MVC1? Would I be interested? Depends on so many factors. Like, for example, how is the online play? Is there a vibrant community of people playing it so I can get back into it? You know, like, would I like to play again in Marvel 1 competitively? Sure. Is it viable? I have no idea. We have to see how the game sells. If it picks up and, you know, are there enough people playing it? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. So, plus, how's the netcode? You don't know, right? Is Wolverine better than Strider? No. Hands down, 100% Strider Hiryu is the top character in MVC1. When he has literally the best priority normals, a combo that does insane damage that builds his meter, and then when he uses the super, he's invincible, essentially. You can't hit him, and then he can just build meter and do it again ad nauseum. Like, he's literally the most broken character in any versus game. MVC1 Strider is just broken to shit. That's why in MVC2 they nerfed him completely and made it so that his barrier isn't nearly as effective. Or else he'd be invincible. He's pretty much invincible. A good player, a good Strider player, cannot be hit. There's just no clean way to hit him at all. It's ridiculous. Who would be my vice president if I were elected president of the USA? Moist Critical. He would be my vice president for sure. He's the hype man. There you go. No, I never played Tatsunoko versus Capcom. I'm well aware of what it is, but I never played it. Heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The ticket is picked. The ticket is selected. Meatball Mania says, I vote that ticket. Well, get the word out. That's great. All right, guys, any last minute stuff to talk about? Because we do have to switch over the React show. Mark, you just heard the news about Biden? Yeah. It happened right at the beginning of my show. Like, literally as I was starting up the podcast, it happened. No, they're never going to make Evil Within 3. That's all done. The studio doesn't exist anymore, dude. The studio's been disbanded. You know, they're never making another one. Derek, I have no idea what you're talking about. Derek, you literally said, I did want to let you know that just to let you know. You didn't say what you're letting me know, so I have no idea what you're letting me know because you didn't tell me what you're letting me know. Yeah, Evil Within was owned by Tango Gameworks. That was the Shinji Mikami company, and they went out of business. They were let go. Remember? This just happened. I'm seriously all day I'm going to be opening my phone, checking for news to see if they dropped the MVC Collection. All day I'm going to be doing this. I don't know why I keep checking. I don't know why. Because I'm a fool. I played every Versus games in the 1990. Every single one of them. They were all hot new releases at my arcade, and I played every one of them tons. So I know all about them. The one that I know the least about is X-Men Children of the Atom, only because at that point they weren't competitive yet. That game was okay, but it plays very slow. Marvel Superheroes got way better and has tons of combos and fun stuff. And then they started the actual Versus games after that, and that's when they really get good. Yeah, I know. Is it sad that my most hyped new game release is the Marvel vs. Capcom Collection? It seriously is. Like, I'm so hyped for it. I can't wait to play it. And it's like, why is that my most hyped game release? That's sad. Is it sad? Yeah. I mean, at the same time, it's good to have something. But what's your most anticipated game of the year? Is it any of these big AAA releases and giant games? No, it's a collection of classic fighters from the 90s. That's my favorite game, right? No, I didn't quit playing Stardew Valley. I don't know why anyone would be saying that. We're playing it tomorrow night. Wow, I was about to adjourn and I received a $2 tip. It's Debo. I would love to be your running mate. No. I've already chosen my running mate. It's too late. It's too late for you, Debo. But thank you for the $2 tip. Okay. All right, guys, we got to adjourn so I can get the React show going. Thank you for watching. What a wild podcast. Let's hope that the announcement comes through today, and tomorrow we'll be playing the Marvel vs. Capcom Collection. I would be super stoked if that's the case. I'd be so excited. So I hope that it comes true. We will see. But in the meantime, please be safe. Have a happy Sunday. Hopefully I'll see you for the React stuff. If not, I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.